to another edition of the I Prefer the 80s and 90s Sports podcast where I, Richard Harris, talk about why I prefer the sports of today, the sports of the 80s and 90s to today. A little Freudian slip there. Today's topic is a continuation of yesterday's topic, and I noticed something yesterday while I was recording that in the beginning of the show that my voice, my volume, my levels were low, so I'm speaking a little bit louder today. And hopefully you can hear me. So yesterday I told you that I saw that Deion Sanders was voted as the Sports Illustrated Person of the Year. And reading the reaction around the country, hearing the reaction around the country, it is emblematic of today in the respect that today everything has 100 different layers to it. Nothing can be simple. Nothing can be plain. Nothing can be, it is what it is. Reading the quotes and the comments from people are trying to make it out to be a racial issue because this generation uses words that just annoy me. I hate that word, hater. Hater. You're a hater. It bothers me so much that I don't even use that word. Because the one thing that part of the new generation, when we have kids and the kids are young and the kids are trying to explain things, we say, use your words. Use your words. Use your big girl words. Use your big boy words. You know, this generation doesn't have big boy words or little girl words. They just simply say, you're a hater. Simple as that. So if you say something bad about somebody or say something that you don't agree with somebody, you hate them. And it's pathetic because hate carries feeling. Hate carries an emotion that is stronger than any of the negative emotions that you could call somebody, any of the negative things you could say to somebody. I can argue with you till we're blue in the face, but if you say that you hate me, or if I say I hate you, or I hate this, it sends a different tone to the argument. It sends a different tone to what has been said because now it becomes more personal. And when I consistently keep reading about how everything of this generation is totally based on love and hate, it makes me so interested with it. You cannot like things without being called a hater. And in terms of this Deion situation, which bothers me, when people throw the race part of it into it, because that's what everyone has been saying all year long. That the reason why people are rooting against him is because he's black. Or hating that he won the Sports Person of the Year award because he's a black man who's teaching kids how to do things in the way that black people do things. Or he's a black man that came from the HBCU colleges and went to the big time. And as a black man, and as a black man, and as a black man, it is tedious and annoying. What makes him different from Freeman from Notre Dame? You know what makes him different from Freeman from Notre Dame? Nothing. Freeman coaches his kids as hard as Deion does. And guess what? Someone could say is a difference between them. The difference between Deion's team and Notre Dame's team is what I just said. What exactly I just said. We don't refer to Notre Dame as Marcus Freeman's team. We refer to Notre Dame as Notre Dame. People go to watch Colorado play football not because they're good. They go to watch Colorado play football because a celebrity is coaching their team. Period. They were on TV this year. Of the 12 games they played, I want to say like 9 times. 9 times. And they lost, I want to say, 6 of the 9 games they were on national TV. And they won 3. They were on ESPN and beat Colorado State, beat Nebraska on Fox, and beat TCU on Fox. Then they beat Arizona State on Pac-12 Network, I think it was. But all the other games they were on TV, they lost. In fact, the game they won on the Pac-12 Network, the announcer said Deion was pushing the kicker out onto the field so the kicker can do his dance. And he was so excited that this is what Coach Prime brings to these kids. He lets these kids be who they are. If that kid was who he was with his terrible dance, that's pathetic. Because, see, the difference between Coach Prime and that kid is Coach Prime wouldn't have needed prodding to go out and dance. Coach Prime wouldn't have needed anybody to say, show them who you are, show them where you're from, show them your moves. He would have just made the kick and did the Deion dance or did his dance for everyone to see. Period. But in me saying that, I'm a hater. I guess I'm a hater of that kid because I didn't like his dance, his celebration. Because Coach Prime told him to get out there and dance. And I'm racist because the kid is Latin American. That's what this generation is. This generation twists everything. And I'm not talking about the young kids. I'm talking about the 30, the 20s. They twist everything into hate. They twist everything into race. They make everything uncomfortable because it's not about what it is. My displeasure with Coach Prime winning the Sports Person of the Year award is his team was good in September. There's 12 months of the year. He had one good month. What happened in October? They won one game. They're 0 for November, and guess what? Their season is over. They're not even going to a bowl game. I read somewhere someone was saying, I can't wait for my son to go play at Colorado, to play for Coach Prime. Hope my son is good enough to play for Coach Prime. Look what he did to his own son. Everybody's tooting the horn of what he did at Colorado. What didn't he do at Colorado? He didn't bring in some Jim Bobs and Billy Bobs who could block to keep his son from getting his back broken. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I don't think he's the sports person of the year. The Texas Rangers lost 100 baseball games last year and won the World Series this year. Shouldn't somebody from Texas Rangers be up in the runnings? Nikola Jokic has been the MVP of the NBA 2 of the last 3 seasons, and last year he didn't win for the first time after winning it the previous year and was in the running to win it again. Ronald Acuna hit 40 home runs and 80 RBIs, and 70 stolen bases. Nobody in the history of baseball has ever hit 40 home runs and stolen 70 bases. It's an accomplishment based award. Connecticut's men's team won the NCAA tournament out of nowhere. Caitlin Clark and LSU's women's basketball team, not just Angel Reese, the whole team. South Carolina. A'ja Wilson won the WNBA championship. Max Verstappen has had an epic season in Formula One racing. He won 16 straight races. But Coach Prime had a better year than all them people? Are you serious? And to read that people are writing that people are gonna hate him or hate this because he's black, because a black man. What? In the 80s and 90s, they just played. Simple as that. They just played. I'm never going to tell an athlete, my child, anybody to shut up and play. Never going to say that to anybody. I'm not going to imply it to anybody either. And I understand that the public, the media, we all got our opinions about everything. And for some reason, oh, I know what the reason is. What has happened in America in a long time, we haven't felt like we've had leaders in this country to follow. Most of our homes were broken, are broken, meaning that they are not a cohabitated family. There's no mom and dad. There's no big brother to guide you, to teach you things. We all rely on social media and our friends, maybe our uncles, maybe our other relatives, maybe the communities that we hang out in. But we are missing leaders. And so people looked at leaders who technically aren't really good leaders. Well, the things that one culture does and likes to do, it says about them, doesn't say about all of us. And that bothers me. People say that instead of talking about it so much and criticizing so much, you should take advantage of it. As a black man, I should be posting, hey man, I'm black. Y'all should be listening to my podcast. Hey man, I'm black. Y'all should be trying to buy trips for me on my sports travel business. Hey man, I'm black. Y'all should be helping me out with my clothing line. Hey man, I'm black. I've done some acting. Somebody should sign me. And I find that offensive. The Supreme Court earlier this year got rid of affirmative action. Told you when I start choking, it usually means I'm telling the truth. And actually, a big ass black crow landed outside my window just a minute ago. That scares me because I've never seen that happen before. A crow that close. And black crows aren't really good luck. I interpret it sometimes whenever I see a crow that it's my mother or my father or my brother, a friend of mine who passed away is looking out for me. There's a crow that crows outside my window a lot. And it's usually in the morning. And usually I'm thinking he or she is telling me to get my butt up. This one got really close to the window and he was like, he listened to the podcast for a minute and he's like, don't diss Coach Prime. I'm not dissing Coach Prime. Love Dion. That's the problem that I have with this generation. I can love you and dislike what you do at the same time. I can love you and dislike something that you did at the same time. That is parenting 101. Unconditional love, but your ass did something wrong. You did something wrong. I could say that to you and not hate you. I can say LeBron James is a really good basketball player, but he's not better than Mike, Kobe, Julius, Magic, or Larry. That doesn't make me a hater. I just told you I liked him as a player. But this generation, you're a hater if you say that. I like Jordan Spieth as a golfer, but I hate the fact that CBS and the golf world like really treats him special, like he's different because the way he got into professional golf was different. He defied Texas. He defied people and he's successful. I don't care about none of that. And then when he was losing every tournament and had won forever, CBS was all, everybody was all, oh, Jordan, if he's, I feel so bad that Jordan, he can't figure it out. And now that he's figured it out, everyone's so happy because he'll hit a pitch shot. Only Jordan can do that. He'll hit some other. He just drove the green right now, 301 yards. Only Jordan has hit the green driving. It's annoying. I don't hate him. The whole Angel Reese thing, LSU. Caleb Williams thing at USC that no one wants to talk about, but I said since the day that they showed him playing game and his teammates were putting crowns on his head, USC lost every game after that. And they showed him crying to his mama in the stands. And you're like, oh, you're a hater because you said that ever since he put the crown on his head and think he's the king, they lost. No, stating the fact. These kids today think they're bigger and badder than they are. Angel Reese's whole situation. That's why her coach put her butt on the bench and said, sit down, go home, get your head right. Last year was last year, Miss Thang. You're a hater because Angel Reese is just being what a normal black girl's being. No, she ain't. Teams are about teams. They ain't about individuals. And when it comes about the individual, the coach puts your butt on the bench and says, go home. I don't care about your deals with this company, that company. Go home. We got players on this team that can play. And they won every game without her. That's the world that we live in today. You don't understand my blackness. What? They hate Dion because Dion's black and Dion doing things in the black community, in the black culture. Dion's hip hop. Isn't that funny that last year, just 1 year ago, they were playing Southern University, and the coach of Southern University said Dion ain't SWAC. Dion ain't HBCU. I think it was Eddie Robinson Jr. who said that. And then they made it, and then he apologized, and Dion's team, I think, beat them. And, you know, again, what? That's black on black crime. You know what real racism in sports is? Real racism in sports is when you watch soccer and the team's got black players and the crowd is calling him names, racial names, or when Patrick Ewing played against Syracuse and the stupid student body at Syracuse started throwing oranges at the backboard and started calling him the missing link and someone hanging an ape behind the backboard. That's racism in sports. And John Thompson took his kids off the floor. That's racism. That's real. Racism is when you hate somebody because of their race, or when you watch soccer games and, and opposing players are saying racial things to players during games. That's racism. And while I'm ranting about that, I'll tell you another thing that irritates the hell out of me about racism. I do surveys a lot. And the one thing that has not changed in my entire life that disgusts me, absolutely disgusts me. I get asked questions. I got asked a question this morning in a survey I did that was talking about whether or not I'm a Democrat or a Republican. And every time I fill out a questionnaire that I know is coming from a Republican PAC, they always ask about blacks. And I'm always like, why is it that political parties go racial in order to get votes? And then they wonder why there's a divide in the country. Wow, I'm really going. It's 27 minutes in. The question was, does the Republican Party do enough for black people? Does the Republican Party do enough for the black community? And I sat there and I said, I don't know. My constituency, my representative is a Democrat. So I have no clue what they do for me. I don't notice things that when they ask me about presidents, about my life, the question was asked today, was my life better with Donald Trump than it was with Joe Biden? And I said, my life was better with Joe Biden because during Joe Biden's reign, I came into some good fortune. Nothing to do with Joe Biden. But during President Trump's reign is when I got medical, and it was Obamacare medical, which he's trying to get rid of. But I got medical care. And for the last 5 years, I've had a doctor see me, and the diabetes diagnosis is gone, blood pressure diagnosis is gone, kidney issues are better, my health is better. But during Donald Trump's tenure, he wanted to get rid of Obamacare. So, how do I answer the question? Financially, I got better during Biden. Health wise, I've continued my health. I'm still under the same medical plan. So, how do I answer the question? Of course, I said my life's gotten better with Joe Biden because money and health care, my health care is free. So, the money's allowed me to live. But my point simply, as I've gotten totally off topic, is stop bringing race into everything. Stop looking at me as a charity case black man. Stop looking at me as a black man. Look at me as a person. Look at Dion as a person. Look at the sports world for the sports. If racial things happen during the games or within the sport, they've been rooting it out. They got rid of Donald Sterling because he used the N word. They got rid of the owner of the Phoenix Suns because he used some bad words. They got rid of Daniel Snyder because of a culture that some people thought was racial and, you know, exploited women and all kinds of stuff. They get rid of you now. But a black man can say whatever he wants because supposedly we can't be racist. Draymond Green called Kendrick Perkins a coon. Nobody said nothing about it. Kendrick Perkins was ready to fight him. That got brushed under the rug real fast. But my point simply is race has no place where it doesn't belong. And Coach Prime getting Sportsman of the Year shouldn't have happened because his team stunk. He didn't do anything revolutionary to Colorado. He made them money. And what people don't tell you, and this is what, and I'll stop talking. What people don't tell you about Colorado football is 3 of their last 4 head football coaches were black. The difference between them and Coach Prime is he was a celebrity.